in here and help out. Anyways, does anybody have any questions for me before we get started? This is the pattern. You go over to my website, jacksandlow.com. Click on, what does it say? Something, and then there's drop down menu, and then it says patterns, and this is on there. There's also, you can also get to it by going to the freebies menu item on there. Because this is a free pattern. And I had a lot of fun, just as a backstory before we get started. I ended up allowing, because it's free, everyone who was interested in testing the pattern to jump on board, even people who had never tested before. So it was really interesting. I think I had close to 100 people that tested the pattern, which was absolutely fantastic. They put me on blast. I have been absolutely inundated with orders for this. And luckily it all is automated on my website, but there are some people that are ordering some other stuff. But in the last 24 hours, I had over 1,000 orders for this pattern. So it's been a little crazy. Some people are not getting their stuff. Most everybody's doing just fine, but there's a few people that have been having issues. So if you do, you can always email me directly. I'm a one-man show. It's me and Jax. You can email me at hello@jacksandlow.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can and help you out if you're having any issues. Oh, there's Mom. Claudia Wallace is my mom. So Mom and Dad are helping out too, Lauren. So say hi to each other. I do want to keep this on topic, so if there are other people that jump in and sort of start introducing topics or asking questions that are not appropriate, or are having a specific issue even, they can go ahead and email me directly at hello@jacksandlow.com, because the moderators aren't really set up to help handle issues at this point. And the other thing I want to say is that I do have a Facebook group. It's called jacksandlowfriends.com, and I'm gonna start promoting it pretty heavily. There's going to be members only discounts for people that join the Facebook group, which of course is no cost. And the nice thing that I wanted to do is allow people to feature any design that they want. Say you get a pattern from a different maker and you're very proud of it and you want to show it off. Let's do that in the group. I love finding new designers. It's like super inspirational. So a little bit about me, I design handbags and I make handbags. But I really love designing stuff, so I design fabrics. In fact, I'm helping my parents with a little project right now. So we're gonna be working on that. Anyways, how many people we got? We got 3 people in here? I can't see what that says. I have to put my glasses on. 3 people watching. Lauren Gribble said, can you use jelly vinyl for the exterior? I did have one of my testers try out a plastic. You'll see when we start this that there is item 16 in the pattern. Step 16. You have to birth it, and it's through a pretty small hole. So if you're doing something like a jelly fabric, it's going to stick to itself, and it's going to be you can do it. It's not recommended, but anyways, I think we're going to go ahead and just get started because we're a few minutes in. I'm going to adjust the camera so that you can see what I'm doing instead of looking at my face. So hang on, we're going for a ride, people. I was going to try and do this in a landscape format, but once I started it in the portrait format, it would not let me change it. Learning all of these things, fun. All right, let me know if you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna start with the large. I'm actually watching myself on screen, seeing if I can figure out how to, if you can see me or not. Okay. Cross my fingers. Can you see? All right, so instead of trying to move the camera around, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it right here on my sewing machine. So I'm gonna start off by, get on my glasses so that I can see what I'm doing. So for this pattern, what you do is you take the shorter end, right? This is, I'm gonna keep the pattern open and out. So it is recommended for waterproof canvases, which is what I'm using here. So step one actually calls for us to mark the zipper, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that after, since I started doing this already. You wanna use double-sided tape across the bottom of it like so. Double-sided tape doesn't stick to waterproof canvas wonderfully. And we'll go ahead and won't take it off just yet. On the back side, it says to mark a line 3/4 of the way in. So I'm gonna do that here. And even though these aren't going to match up in a later, when we finally get the bag together, it's just a good start so that the teeth will line up on the zippers a little bit better. And then you want to go ahead and separate the zipper. Put one piece down here. And if you don't know, I have this picker that I got with my Cricut, and it's meant for weeding stickers, but it acts amazingly as a stiletto and helps me pick the double-sided tape off of there. I don't know about you, but it's a nightmare for me to try and separate double-sided tape. Anyway, so I'm gonna take this mark that I just made, and I'm gonna line it up with this corner here and then along the edge, and then as straight as you possibly can. I kind of stretch it out a little bit. I'm gonna add that like so. And then now I have my lining fabric. I'm gonna put also the shorter side over here like this. And the reason that we're gonna clip this after, somebody did ask me that, if I'm taping it, why am I also clipping it? And it's because sewing machines, particularly mine, if you can see I have an industrial sewing machine, it will move it out of the way. And these are my M3 Mighty. The M3 stands for Mighty Mini Metal Sewing Clips. There's a whole story behind how I arrived at making these, selling these. I frankly just got very, very tired of my plastic clips breaking all of the time. So I started designing something, but turns out that that would have cost the same as a car. And so I started looking around for things that were already made that were also for a different purpose. And I went through probably about 12 different types of clips before I landed on these, and they're absolutely fantastic. There's if you use the coupon code BOGO M3 on my website, you can get buy one pack and get one free right now. I'm reading the comments. Brielle. Hi. I'm glad you can see Lori. Yeah, Lauren, they don't. I would say don't use them on leather or like scratchy leather, you know, softer other kind of leather, definitely. But anyways, I do have my zipper foot on here. I will be changing my zipper foot a few times through the course of this just because that I know it's for a better make. And I just need to keep track of the time. Oh, we've got a few more people coming in. Fantastic. All right. I do have my fan on in the background, so please bear with me. I'm in Texas and it's extremely hot. So I'm gonna sew this at 3/8 of an inch. I have contrasting fabric for the for this. Just always double checking to make sure my layers are correct. I should say that the way that I write my patterns is if you see here at the beginning of any instruction where sewing is required, there's the name of the instruction and then sew, which is stitch length. So either sew based or top stitch, that's unique to you and your machine. And then after that is the seam allowance, which you need to follow for the best results on the pattern. And then it's also in metric as well. I'm sorry I'm stumbling over my words. I'm very tired. It has been a day, let me tell you what. I mean, it's a good problem to have, right? To have so many orders that I can't see straight and going viral and all that kind of stuff. But being that it's your first time, it's always a bit nerve-wracking. I'm wondering if I should just do the one bag for now. Okay, so we got one side stitched up. Let's go ahead and do the other side now. Yeah, thank you, Lauren. She put the coupon code in there, so if you want to get the M3 metal sewing clips, that's where you get them from. Yeah, Lori, the plastic clips. The reason I started was I was sitting down to sew something one day and I had 7 clips in a row break on me when I was trying to put something together. Just the same clip. I put it on, it broke. I put the next one on, it broke. And I mean, I was almost in tears at that point. And I was like, there's gotta be something. And then I was watching Saya's Swag. I don't know, I'm sure if there's some of you that know Saya. And she was having an issue once on a live and she was like, "Cat, somebody please come up with something." And I think that was sort of the impetus because I was like, well, apparently I'm not the only one that has that problem. So anyway, so now I'm adding the zipper to the other side. All right, so far we are on, now we're on step 4. If you don't have the pattern already. Again, you can go over and download its website. So I'm adding the zipper with teeth side in and right side down. And I'm gonna line up this edge over here. Hope you can see it. And then I'll just go ahead and clip that in place. Okay, sewing the other side. Do we know if there is a timer for how many minutes I've actually started? 19 minutes ago. Okay, it shows me on my little screen here that I started 19 minutes ago. here I'm sewing 3/8 of an inch on. So Lori, did you ordered the clips? Did you also get the pattern, the box bag pattern? I'm assuming you did. Okay. So this is the step where if you were going to add a badge, you would do that. I did go ahead and note on here that this is the, here, let's turn it inside out. If you were going to add a bag badge, then you would do so on this step. So I'm going to turn it out. So technically these two ends are the top of the bag. This is the sides of the bag, and then this is the bottom of the bag. So take that into consideration. I didn't put the lengths in there because obviously this is for two different bags, so that would be a different size for each one. So, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and finger press this. Actually, I used my little scissors here to go and squish it open. I really want this to open up. Okay, I just want to make sure that I okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Lori said, I did, and I have made 3 and are making another batch of 3. And as I'm watching this, I also ordered, oh, you ordered the travel bag? That was my very first pattern. That one took me almost a year to do, and mostly because I stopped at some point because, you know, when you first start doing something, you're like, oh, how hard can this be? Anyways, it was very hard. And so I put it aside for a while just out of sheer frustration. Yeah, you have a seam roller, Lauren? I don't have a seam roller. I do have rollers though. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and top stitch here, that 1/8 of an inch. You know what I forgot to check was my bobbin. That was the one thing I was gonna do. Check my bobbin before we started, and I think I'm getting low. So if you're in my group, you saw that I've made many of these. I have a small wooden one that I got from AliExpress. You know, gotta love AliExpress. Alibaba. I actually worked with a lot of Chinese distributors because I got my bag tags made there, and I ordered all my zipper pulls from there that you can buy on my website, and all of the pattern bags. And it kind of started out that because when you order from like Alibaba, you have to order like 20 gazillion of them. I was like, I will never in my life ever use that many. And so I was like, well, I'll just sell them. I'm sure there's other bag makers that would be interested in them. And as this website gets bigger and bigger, I'm going to start adding a lot more stuff. All right, zipper pull. So we're here now. And let's go to 6, add zipper pull. Was anybody confused when I said put the zipper pull on and then take it right back off, pull it completely off the other side in the pattern? Now, I don't know if you know, but this, I consider nylon zipper tape to be directional, and I look for the frowny face. Does that make sense? Where the pieces appear to be going like so. All right. I know you can't see this, but I don't want to move the camera. I have, well, here. See if I can move it really quick. Can we see? If we can see, probably it's just in view. So I have my bag. My zipper pull is in upside down, so I'm going to go upside down. I'm looking to match up that. So the side's going to go a little bit higher. I'm not happy with that. I'll do it again. These zipper pull installers I have on my website as well. Okay, now I'm happy with that. It's a little bit off, but no, I'm gonna try it one more time. Hi, Shirley. Good evening. Nice to meet you too. Oh, I see what the issue is. Okay. This side, it's gonna go up a little bit more. You know why this isn't working? Is because I'm on a live. It sounds like I said I'm on a live. I'm on a live. All right, we're gonna call that good. So it's completely off, and then I'm gonna go back and add it back on again. And just do it up halfway. And usually I stand over it, but I got the camera in the way, so I can't do that. I know, right, Laura? It's perfect. When it does go on completely straight, I'm always like, did that actually just happen? Right? All right, I'm gonna move you back over here so you can watch what I'm doing. Okay, so now I've got the zipper completely closed. I got the zipper pull on. And so I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna cut the edges flush. Is my zipper jig attached to my table? Yeah, it comes with a adhesive on the back of it. Like I said, I do. Here, let me grab one. I think I have one over here. So I have one out of the bag, and this is what it looks like, and then it has this super adhesive on the back. If you watched me while I did it, underneath it, the top of the table is missing because when we moved, I tried to pull it off so it wouldn't get messed up in the move, and it literally pulled the top off the table. So it is like the glue from hell. It will glue it until eternity. All right, let's go ahead and find a lighter that works. I've never had a zipper come undone, but I mean, I've always sealed it, but I don't want to start now, right? When I pull it over to do the snips, I make sure that the zipper is square to the bottom, and then I also make sure that the lining is even on both sides, because once you snip through it, if the lining is off to one side a little bit, then you're gonna have a weird center, and then just pink. And then I'm gonna do it again on the other side. Pink. Oh, I just went in the windowsill. All right, so now, and I have fussy hands, so I apologize that it looks very fussy. I'm going to line up the snip mark I just made with the zipper. Undo that on the other side as well. See that side, I don't think I snipped it perfectly, but that's okay. I will make it work. And then instructions say to go ahead and put 2 on each side like so. And then let me grab my ruler, my pen. And this is the large bag, so I'm gonna go in from this end 1 7/8, and then in from this side 1 1/2. So the 1 1/2, the 1 7/8 is 1 1/2 plus the 3/8 inch seam allowance. And the reason I'm mentioning that is that if for some reason you wanted to scale this bag, like make it bigger, this will give you an idea of why the measurements are the way they are, so you can scale the box corners while you're at it if you want to. So we're going to do 1 1/2 by 1 7/8. So 1 1/2 by 1 7/8. So again, do it to all 4 corners. I am on step 9. You'd think I'd know that by now. Okay, so corners are marked. And for this part, you can actually use any kind of pen, because eventually these corners are going to end up inside the bag. So if there are any markings that are left on it, but it's just good practice to use a pen that's erasable. In my case, this is an air erasable pen. So you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to cut my webbing, but that is not a big deal. I will get that done. I feel like there was a bunch of people who went to the live that I had mentioned in the group and emailed out and are wondering why there's nothing. But Lauren, you said you put a link in the group, right? You resent the link. I try not to cut past my marks. I think I just did for that one. Just because when you go to box the corners, it kind of messes with a little bit. I did put a link in the group and posted one in the comments on the other live. Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. It's just a strange day. It's also, you know, like 6 o'clock on a Monday, right? I'm gonna go get the webbing that I forgot to cut. I had this other webbing that I really liked, but I ordered this one this time. This is actually like the seatbelt kind where it has the thing down the middle. And we'll just do 4 inches. 4 inches. Okay. These are the best scissors that have ever existed. If you don't have a, get you some. The ginger gingham, how do you say it? Will you explain this scaling the corner cutouts again for the different size bags? I was trying to do algebra today to figure it out. Okay, Lori wants to know how to scale the corners. So I'm gonna go ahead and melt these while I'm explaining it. So normally when you box a corner, you just do equal side, you do the math equally. So say an inch and an inch and an inch. In the case of this bag, you have to add the the 3/8 seam allowance on the side that goes here. So it's basically 1.5, 1.5, and then 3/8 for the seam allowance. And if you've done the French seams, you know that it ends up being a lot smaller. So you want to keep these fairly small, but not so small that you can't pull them through on step 16. You know what I mean? So did that make sense, Lori? I'm sorry. It makes sense in my head. Okay, so I'm gonna baste these. Oh, we have a jam. Understand about the addition on the short side, but how do you determine how many inches up and in for an even larger pattern? I would say if you measure the bag across on the first one and decide, you'll see how far across it is and what percentage it is of that if you're feeling like doing the math. And the same goes for figuring out how long this is right here. Should be 12 3/4, right? And then what percentage of it is this? I guess I could do something like that. And then once you scale it, you use that percentage to figure out what the corners are. "38 minutes. Okay, I think I'm only gonna have time to make one of them. Mostly because I'm having to stop and read stuff. All right, I don't know if you can see that, but I didn't melt the end, so I'm gonna have a fire here if I keep going the way I am. Did any of you know that the name of my website, Jax and Low, is Jax is my dog? Where is he? Where are you, Jax? He's always right underfoot. Jax. Oh, here he is. Come here. He's dead asleep. He's like, what do you want? All right, so we got our edges cut out. I got I got my pull tabs. And the reason you want to add pull tabs on both sides is for when you're doing the zipper, you want to be able to hold the edge of the bag to pull the zipper. Because I did have some people that only put pull tabs on one side, I guess trying to get creative, but from a functionality standpoint, I don't think that's like the greatest idea. I mean, maybe it works, but you're at it anyway. And you can also make your own pull tabs if you want it to match the fabric. I put the dimensions in the pattern so that you can figure that out for yourself. I wasn't going to do that for you. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn the whole thing inside out. So this is step 12, right? You have it inside out, so you've got the exterior one side and the interior on the other side. And then going to line these up like so. So you have all your layers now. Should be the interior, interior and then the exterior. And then we're going to add the pull tab to the edge. This webbing is kind of nice because it does have the thing in the center. You line it up with the tip of the zipper there, but you also want to make sure that you line up the center of it with the center of your zipper down there. Because if you can see, the ends are a little bit uneven. So if you try and line the end of this up with the end of this, it's going to end up being crooked. So it's best to line up the webbing with the zipper itself. So I'm going to line up the middle here and the middle here. And then I'm going to clip that on. I can get the clip over. These clips they're tiny, but I tell you, they really go over everything. I just think they're the greatest thing ever, which is why I'm like putting them on sale and so forth, because everybody needs to have some of these in their lives. Oh, yes. Thank you, Laura. I just got it in. I've made several versions of my interior fabric. This one is non-directional, so that's kind of a nice thing, but I really do like it. I don't know if you can see that, but it's my logo and it says Jackson Low. And then I put a fleur-de-lis because ask my mom. She doesn't understand why I'm so girly. Right, Mom? All right, so again, I'm lining up the pull tab with the zipper. So I'm looking here as well to make sure that it's in alignment with the zipper on this side, and then I'm going to line up the center snip with the center of that here. I did for the pattern, I did this illustration. I don't know if it's obvious what it is. The front part is basically sort of like semi-invisible so that you can see the zipper tape and the pull tab that is behind it. But I hope that makes sense. It looks good to me, but everybody's different. And then just continuing to line up the edges here. Okay. So on to step 15. 15? Yes, 15. So here we're going to do 3/8 of an inch. And then as you get up onto the zipper pull, back stitch on the other end. When you turn this bag, you're really going to yank on that thing, so you definitely want it to stay in place. And because I'm using an industrial, and you don't, I don't think you need to use an industrial. I think this, did any of you make it on a domestic machine? Did it work out okay? Was it a bit of a struggle? And I'm just throwing my zipper in the garbage. All right, I think this is not even. Nope. Good catch, Laura. Good catch. Alrighty. Alright, so we're almost there. Last page of the instructions, 16. Turn the bag. So this is why you don't want to use leather. I know there were some people that tried other fabrics and they were saying that it was quite the ordeal. Looks like I'm running low on bobbin thread, so I might have to change that. So I'm reaching in. It says reach through one of the corners and unzip the zipper. So I'm just going to move it a little bit. Can't see what I'm doing. Put my finger in there, and then I just pull it apart, and it unzips the whole thing. Then while I'm in here, it says while still reaching through the corner, also reach through the now open zipper and grab. If you can see that, grabbing the interior fabric, pulling it through the hole. And this is what I do. I just Lauren, you use leather. I bet that was a chore. Was it a thick leather or was it like a... You may have shared it. Okay, so then you end up with this, and that's why it also says at the end of 16, grab each tab and just start going like that until it sort of settles into place. I don't know if that was understood in the instructions. And there you go. We should be at the end of number 16 now. I'm going to start boxing the corners. And you do want to make sure that your interior fabric is all the way flush with that corner. I need to get a drink. My mouth is parched. All right, we're at 48 minutes, so and I keep plugging along until we're almost done. Surely. I've made many of these, so I could probably do it in my sleep at this point. All right, last one. So making sure that it's nice and flush and that the interior comes to the edge. And I keep saying that because the first couple ones that I made, I did not do that. All right, let's go ahead and get these edges sewn. I was gonna change my zipper foot to a regular foot, but that'll take time. I have to unscrew it with a screwdriver. So here we're going with a 1/4 of an inch, so less than my standard 3/8 of an inch. Honestly, you just trim all that off anyway, right? So I'm not too worried about it now, but you do want to make sure you trim those edges up nice and neatly. I did end up putting that in the instructions after I did the tester because people were showing their makes and I could see all the strings sticking out. Pray that my thread does not run out, please. My bobbin thread. Because it's getting curly, which usually means it's getting at the end. Other side. And you definitely want to make sure that you backstitch at the beginning and the end, both when you do the inside and the outside, because that's where all the string is going to be in these corners. Don't want them unraveling. Corner. Okay, corners are done. I'm going to use our Guggenheim scissors. And you want to trim this where, can I see? Yeah. Trimming it down to 1/8 of an inch, making sure to get all the threads trimmed up. When I first made this bag, I didn't even know that these seams were called French seams. I had to go and Google it. And I should have one more. 1, 2, 3, 4 more. All right, there we go. 4 corners, and then turn it inside out. This is step 18. And there are 20 steps, so we're almost done. And I want to make sure we roll that between our fingers. Lauren asks, yeah, it's a 1541. Yes. You know your jukies. Somebody just got the S and posted on one of the groups and said, oh, look what I found. Look what hitchhiker I picked up. I was like, I need to know where those hitchhikers are. Because the S has a couple extra bells and whistles. Sorry, Shirley, I wasn't paying attention to your question. Okay, in this step, I do recommend putting the, I have a left zipper foot. Where did my screwdriver go? There it is. I do wish there was a quick release for the zipper foot. I saw one that you can put on and it like twirls around. So you can just, I don't know if it would fit on mine. I'll check it out one of these days. You could just use the other side zipper foot and just put the bag through the machine the other way, but I guess since I put it in the instructions, I wanted to go ahead and do what I said. You know what I mean? Okay, and this is our last bit of stitching. We're gonna do this at 3/8 of an inch. Yes, 3/8 of an inch, or 10 millimeters for those doing metric. Because this center seam right here, it does get very, very bulky with all of this. Okay. She does. Lauren has stepped up like out of nowhere, and she's not only moderating for me, but she's also she became an admin in the group, and just wow. I feel very, very, very fortunate. All right. There's 2 more sides to go, and then we're done. Oh, that thread's getting very curly in the... my bobbin thread. All right, last one, last one. When it gets curly like that, that usually means that it's almost to the end. Okay, that's it. It's done. 57 minutes. And I had about like 20 minutes of babbling before I... There we go. Let's turn it back out. Thank you, Lauren. So what's nice is the French seams end up giving it a lot of its body to hold its shape. Just pushing my corners out. Sorry if I did that off camera. There we go. Ta-da! We sewed a bag together. You want to see it's on the inside. I just have to do the little one. All right. I said an hour, and we're about 59 minutes. So, oh, I didn't realize that I also had comments on the screen. I'm gonna get them. sorry. This is Jax. He has the love of my life. Aren't you? He was sleeping. He's like, why did you wake me up? Laura, are you going to make one? You haven't made one yet? That's awesome. Make sure you join the group if you haven't and post pictures in there. So, thank you, Shirley. So, anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. My very first live ever. Wasn't horrible. There was some technical issues trying to get it to work with the pre-done one. So, again, there's a couple of codes. Lauren, if you could put the code for the metal sewing clips, if you guys want to buy those, they are buy one, get one free right now. And also, our Facebook group is Jax and Lo Friends. Remember, this is Jax. I'm Lo. There's a little blurby on there explaining a little bit about my nickname, but on my website. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Did anybody have any questions before we get out of here? It's like 9 million degrees in Texas right now. I have the AC on, but it doesn't seem to be helping. Thank you, Mother. Claudia's my mom. Jax Shirley said hi. Yes, she did. All right, well, thank you very much, and I'm definitely going to do this again. Bye. Let's see, how do we do this?